Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Dr. Alessandro. And in this video, I'm going to be giving another back to school special demonstration. It's for those of you students who are going into Crown and Bridge. So typically second year or end of first year, depending on which institution you go to. So Crown and Bridge often has a lot of, let's just say, options as far as the burrs you use for your tooth preparation. So I do encourage you to explore, find the ones that work best for you. But once you have, just keep it simple. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Because rather than making it complicated and having 10, 15, 20 different burrs, you really want to try to keep it to 2 or maybe 3 at most. That keeps your setup simplified, and that keeps everything on your tray in better order. I'm not going to say great order because things can get kind of messy, or it can get a little bit, let's just say, scattered any which way. But the less burrs or items you have, the better it is. So without further ado, here's my setup. So as you can see, I really don't have much in terms of a setup. You can see that I have my chamfer burr here. So that's the primary burr that I use for cutting of the crowns. So this is my big go-to for the bulk of the work. And then there's this one, my 330. Okay, the 330 again. This one is the workhorse for basically breaking contact, and that's all I do with it, unless there's a really good reason to use it otherwise. I guess sometimes I could do depth cuts with it. So in order to create the proper depth, a 330 is typically pretty good. So your 330s will be great for breaking contact and for depth cuts, for the depth of most of the crowns that you do. And then the workhorse, of course, being your typical chamfer burr, diamond. Now, everybody's going to have their preference, but this makes things very, very easy. You're only using 2 burrs. On occasion, I'll also use a football burr, so I can do that as well. But typically, that's pretty much about it for my setup. So thanks again for joining me on this video about the armamentarium, or the burrs to use when you are preparing teeth for crowns. That said, I do want you to know something very, very important. We don't want you to reuse burrs a whole bunch of times, okay? So when you're starting the preparation in the pre-clinic, and especially in the clinic, and even when you're treating your patients in practice, you want to use new burrs, okay? You want to use new burrs that are properly taken care of and sterilized, for your live patients in the clinic, and when you're out in practice. But in the pre-clinic, you want to use new burrs, okay? You don't want to reuse burrs because they just don't cut as efficiently. You're going to do a lot of burning. Your plastic teeth, when you're in pre-clinic, they're going to turn brown. You'll know that. You'll feel that it's not going to cut as clean or as smoothly or as easily. So make sure that you are using new burrs. As our very highly esteemed and excellent, quite frankly, instructor at my dental school, Temple Dental, Dr. Ken Bobrick, would say, this isn't a race to see whose burrs turn the most black in color. All right, so you don't want to char your burrs and make them look like they're well seasoned. You want to use new burrs. That way you are efficient when you're working. So make sure you're spending that extra money to get new burrs, okay? So I know that dental school is expensive and you want to try to save costs, but a cost that you shouldn't really cut on is your burrs. So you want to spend the right money on the right burrs to use. So that said, spend the money on the burrs, and maybe skip one or two pumpkin spice lattes or weekend beverages, whatever they may be of your choice. Maybe lay off 1 or 2 of them on the weekend and save that money for an extra burr or 2. So again, that said, I really appreciate you all joining me. Thank you so much for joining me on my videos, and hope you're all staying well and healthy.